Welcome back to the Universalis podcast. I am Martin Kochański, the creator of Universalis, and in this episode I'll be looking at the highlights of the week ahead, starting with Easter Sunday, the 20th of April. Some Easters the resurrection really hits you, others it doesn't. Perhaps you are going through a soggy period and can't be ignited, or perhaps God thinks that this just isn't meant to be one of your years. But when it does hit you, you feel like you're being squashed flat against the sky itself. All you can do about it is go round saying helplessly, "He is risen, Alleluia," to the people you bump into after Mass, or texting the same thing individually to everyone you can think of, or even pressing the Alleluia button in Universalis.
Alleluia.
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 We tend to look down on raw emotion because it threatens to take us out of control. We shouldn't look down on the gift like that. Control isn't everything. We are living beings, not machine. Emotion is energy. Emotion is a fuel. Leaving joy to one side just for a moment, think of anger. Anger, unconfined and undirected, blasts everything around it. When you willingly enslave yourself to it, it is a sin. But look now at what Jesus did with his anger at his Father's house being turned into a street market. He took some cords, tied them into a whip, stampeded the oxen and sheep, and as for the money changers, any of their tables that hadn't been knocked over by the maddened animals, he tipped over himself and sent the coins rolling into the gutter. This was not a random destruction, but energy directed to a purpose. Zeal for his Father's house had consumed him. Joy is just like anger. It is a power that comes from outside. It can be an overwhelming power. You can't make it appear or control it when it does. But when joy does happen, you can make something good come out of it. Think of a can of petrol. That has a power in it as well, a chemical power. If you take the petrol and empty it out into a big pool on the ground and set a match to it, there's a big whoosh and huge flames. Beyond that, nothing much except singed eyebrows. But now, suppose you take that same petrol and put it into the fuel tank of an engine. Then that same energy can dig a trench for you, it can mow a field for you, it can take you where you want to go. So when we are given joy, particularly the joyful energy of the resurrection, let's try and let it be our fuel. Then let's see where that takes us. The first step towards seeing where the resurrection can take us is knowing what exactly happened at the resurrection. What did not happen is Jesus coming back to life. There is no back about the resurrection. I should say it more strongly. Going back in the sense of taking something that has happened and making it not have happened is impossible. It is impossible by the logic of time, because by its nature time goes only forwards. It is impossible by the logic of God, who never makes things not have happened. God never presses the rewind button of the universe to go back and see if it'll work better another way. He can't do that and still be the loving creator God. God has made the created world and given it a being of its own. To start rewinding and replaying to make it work better would change the whole of creation from a reality into a toy. Everything I have said about creation and the events within it is equally an important fact about ourselves and the events of our own lives and what God does with them. I will come back to this in a bit. If you want evidence of this not going back, it is there in Jesus' early appearance to his disciples. He deliberately shows himself as the same having been crucified Jesus who died on the cross and was laid in the tomb. The marks are still there to prove it. That is to say, nothing can make the crucifixion not have happened. Jesus has not come back to life, but gone forward into new life. The crucifixion has not been erased, it has become part of who and what Jesus is. It has become the foundation of all future history. In a sense, it has become good, though it's hard to pin that down because any attempt always seems to miss the point somehow. Still, let me try. Jesus on the cross was still God and still omnipotent, and when the onlookers shouted up at him, "Come down from the cross if you're so clever," at every moment he could have done it. and he didn't do it, as we know, and that was, depending on which direction you look at it from, either an act of love or an act of obedience. Either way, it was a continuing act which went on and on until he died on the cross. A good act, a supremely good act. So then, looking back on it all from after the resurrection, the bad things about the crucifixion are not erased, the nails, the thorns, the suffering, but the good things are seen clearly, and good always outweighs evil. There is a lesson for us too, for when our own resurrection comes round.
Alleluia.
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 Our own resurrection, do we believe in it? We say we do, standing up at Mass every Sunday and saying, I look forward to the resurrection of the dead. But outside the creed we tend to forget. So many hymns talk about heaven as the place where we sing praises to God with the angels through all eternity. So many prayers for the dead ask that God should welcome their souls into the light and peace of heaven. Heaven is beautiful. It is needed. But we should never forget that it is not our home. When people forget that fact, they have half forgotten their religion, and they have forgotten the most important half. All they have left to look forward to is a place full of angels and harps, and we join them on damp little clouds, praising God forever. Not for us, these people say in the end, and they are right. It is all too bloodless for us flesh and blood creatures. If that were all that Christianity offered, Christianity would be pointless. If they think that this is all that Christianity offers, you can see why they drift away from it. But as the Creed says, our future is not that anemic. We have the resurrection of the body. Our future is life, not the mixed-up, semi-kind of life that we are living now on this earth, but life to the full. Jesus doesn't just tell us this, he shows us. Practically the first thing his disciples worry about is this a ghost? And the first answer Jesus gives them is, ghosts do not eat. Give me a piece of grilled fish. Jesus, who is true God and true man, is giving us a glimpse of what the final state of mankind will be like. We will be people who eat. That's honestly all we need to know on that side of things, is very nearly all that we can know, since our minds now can't conceive of the glory that awaits. Let me put that very clearly in words of one syllable. We are not going to be not us. We are not going to be us with some bits left out. We are going to be us, but more so, us as we were meant to be. St. Thomas Aquinas says somewhere, whatever is good. It's a deep philosophical statement. Without being philosophers, we can add, whatever in us is good will be. Trying to imagine all this is hopeless. I used to tell the story of a caterpillar trying to imagine being a butterfly. Another image is tadpoles arguing about what colour their tails will be when they become frogs. If you tell them you won't have any tails, will they reject the idea of frogginess? Perhaps they will. To teach you not to ask tadpole questions, here is one. Time. What will time be like after the resurrection? Will we be eternal, like God, for whom all time is wrapped into one single instant, a perfect now? Surely not. That is not the kind of being we are. So then will we be everlasting, going on and on, one time after another, forever? The moment we ask that question, we know that that too will not fit, because we are beings for whom life has a shape. So let's not go too far in asking questions when we lack the basic concepts to understand the answer. Let's remember to trust God by remembering that he loves us. He even knows what it is like to be us, so he won't make mistakes. Our resurrected future is what is best for us. It will be what has been the right and natural thing all along. All we can do until then is get a few ideas for use in our present life. For instance, the resurrected Jesus shows that we at the resurrection will be something having both body and soul, so we know not to despise the body now. The resurrected Jesus shows that we will be something that has its own past, not something that deletes its past. What it all seems to be boiling down to is a wholeness, where all past experiences are integrated and are, in that sense, good. There will be no unfinished business left. Body and soul will not fight. Past and present will not fight. They will be at one. We will be able to say, everything that has happened, good or bad, is good in the sense that it has made me me. This is all too far away to be imaginable to us now. Now and then we may get glimpses of it, that's all. The hymns and prayers are not wrong when they point us towards heaven, because heaven is imaginable, just about. Heaven is good. Only if the pictures of heaven you see make it something you can't feel at home in, be reassured, you aren't meant to feel at home in it. Heaven is only a step on the way. Listen to the Creed on this, on the Last Judgment, on the resurrection and the life to come. Or listen to the Apocalypse and its vision of the new heaven and the new earth at the end of time. Now back to a subject I started earlier. It's a difficult subject. You and I aren't resurrected yet. We don't have a crucifixion in our past, and with any luck we never will, but we do have a past, and that past is not necessarily a safe place. There are bad things we have done and bad things that have happened to us. There are good things that should have happened and didn't. There are good things we had once but have lost. If all of this were present to us all the time, the sense of loss, guilt, harm, whatever, would drive us mad. So most of these things are sealed away in stout tins with a lid on them welded shut for our safety. Who seals those lids? It is hard to tell. It might be a protective principle in our own psyche. It might be our guardian angel. It might be God himself. This sealing away has a good result. It leaves what is left of us to function safely away from danger. But it does good by doing a kind of harm. It means that when the dangerous parts have been subtracted, you and I are whatever is left. We are no longer a whole person, but only half a person. And resurrection is not about half people, it is about wholeness. One picture of the wholeness at the resurrection is that all these tins are opened and what is in them does no harm. It has not been removed or made into nothing, just as the resurrection of Jesus did not make the crucifixion not have happened. But somehow it has been turned into something that we can look at in the face and live. What was too bad even to think about or remember has become something of which we can say, this is part of what has made me me. I can't tell you where that healing comes from. Partly it is a natural process, mostly I suspect it is a gift from God. Life is long nowadays for most of us. The good thing about its length is that sometimes, occasionally, we can see this healing process in action. You wake up one day and you find that a certain bad thing in the past can now be remembered without being instantly relived. You can look at it without it obliterating you. Or you may find yourself thinking afresh about some turning point in your life that you have always regretted and realize that regret is not attached to it anymore. Like Jesus demonstrating his resurrection to his disciples rather than just talking about it, these little healings demonstrate to us, better than words could, that healing can really happen. Like all gifts from God, this is a gift to be accepted when it is given, but not to be demanded. You can't make it happen. But what you can do, quite reasonably, is to put all these sealed away troubles on Jesus' shoulders. He will heal when it suits him to heal, when it is best for you to be healed. In this life or the next, one day you will be whole. There is a gospel passage this week which has more to do with this than you might think. It comes at the evening mass on Easter Sunday, if you can find any church that has one. It also comes on Wednesday. It is the story of the journey to Emmaus. Normally, we see that gospel as having as its highlight the recognition of Jesus in the breaking of the bread. Now try looking at its core instead, where, beginning with Moses and all the prophets, Jesus interprets to the disciples the whole of their history, which reaches its culmination in himself. He is telling them what they are, who they are, what they mean. Doesn't that sound like what Jesus will have to do for each of us at the Last Judgment, to take us through the whole of our history and tell each of us what he is, who he is, and what he means? If you have the Universalis app on iPhone, iPad or Android, then this story is for you. 4 years ago, I asked people who use the app to record the one word Alleluia for me. Hundreds of you did. So now, from Easter Sunday onwards, you will see at the top and bottom of every page in the app a button marked Easter Alleluia. When you press it, you will hear the words
Alleluia.
Alleluia. Alleluia.
from 3 different people somewhere in the world. The oldest is 92, the youngest sounds about 2, and they're all ages in between. Each time you press the button, you get a random choice from more than 200 different triple Alleluias, so have fun pressing it more than once. If you feel like a little universal rejoicing, try this.
Alleluia.
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 That's all for this week. If you'd like to write to us about anything, send an email to universalis@universalis.com. We look forward to hearing from you. Have a good week in every sense, and let's pray for one another.